Now, with respect to the question 11, which brings us to a whole new section, which deals with the fines and penalties, and it's a whole another journey. What's very important before you even roll up your sleeves and start answering this question thoroughly, you kind of I'll get to that in a second. You need to know the as a librarian of the Code of Federal Regulation, you need to know where to reach. And of course, you have to the section dedicated to fines, penalties, and forfeitures is Part 171. Part 171 is comprised, for at least for the customs license broker exam purposes, it is comprised of the procedural considerations, which pretty much say this is how many days you have to do this, or this is the type of paper you need to file to get this result. And the second part of the part 171 is comprised of appendices. So and those appendices are with relative frequency, all of them have been tested on a customs license broker exam. And what we're talking about, of course, is we're talking about part 171 A, B, C, D. Now, here is what's important about these guys is also to kind of put a note of the law itself. If we go back to our previous class, we will note that, for example, recall the regulatory structure where or legal structure of our system, where you have a US Constitution on top and it trickles down to the directives and handbooks, right? Which at the bottom order is a technical manual called ACE Business Rules, which is part of the Customs License Broker exam. So this is a little bit higher above, and it talks about a lot of legalese. But the most important part to get out, and this is the key, is to learn how to associate these particular numbers. And this one not so much, but also this one would be good. This one especially, the 1641. So learn to associate those particular numbers with not only with the appendices, but also for what they stand. And we'll see that in a bit. Real briefly for now. 14. So, and the reason you need to associate those numbers is because customs examiners, they will throw at you a question saying, well, pursuant to section 1592, the standard for fraud is, and what's going on? What is section 592 of the Tariff Act of 1930 as amended? Well, it would be something which is codified under section 19, title 19, United States Code, section 1592, for example. And so real briefly, the 1497 deals with clerical errors and mistakes of fact. Those are the buzzwords. Clerical errors, mistakes of fact. The 1592, 19 U.S.C. 1592 deals with fraud, negligence, and gross negligence. 1641, 19 U.S.C. 1641 deals with regulation of licensed customs broker. No, that is not to say that they cannot be dinged for this under this statute, they cannot be they can be dinged for negligence, for example, gross negligence or fraud too, because people are people, right? People um, not only make mistakes, but they also think about making a quick dollar sometimes, or taking a risk, and that puts them within the purview of 1592. However, not always, but sometimes. So 1641 is licensed customs brokers. How are they regulated? Uh, they Congress, again, those are all the statutory provisions. Congress sets down the statute, and pursuant to which customs makes a regulation which kind of fills in the blank to the broad provisions. And 171 Appendix D deals with provisions of drawback, duty drawback. 1593A, duty drawback. So if you can kind of see 1641, think licensed customs broker. 1592, think negligence, gross negligence, fraud. 1497, clerical error, mistake of fact. So those are the buzzwords that I'd like you to keep in mind before we dive into the dialogue of the question. All right, now, so with this preview, fines and penalties when one sees fines and penalties, of course, that means that your fingers, as you see it on the screen, your fingers should be going toward the part 171 of the Code of Federal Regulations immediately, because that's not always, but most likely this is where the answers will lie, unless you recognize them in your head, of course. All right.